This is some of the use cases that we use it for. We use it for the fridge. Let me show you some of the results that we had from running the fridge, how long it was able to run the fridge with just the 2 batteries, so you can see what you can really use it for in an emergency, depending on how many batteries you have. Maybe you do only have 2 batteries. You're like, hey, is it worth $600 to, have the fridge last a little bit longer? Let's see how long the fridge lasts. So this is a test I do with all the batteries I test. I plug them in my fridge, see how long it lasts, because that's one of the most important things you're going to need in an emergency. In this battery, you click the plug button, and that activates the plug. Once I plug it in, that's going to now adjust how much time it says that we have for this battery. Right now, it's giving me 3 hours. I started this at 3:30, and then I'll show you kind of when this ends. But my fridge does an interesting thing where it will go through different cycles of how much power it's needing to run. So sometimes it'll go all the way down to 0, where it'll need 0 power. It'll just completely shut off. And then sometimes it'll go bump up to, 400 watts, and it'll use 400 watts for a little bit, and then it'll bump down to 1,000 or 100 watts, and it'll go kind of in this cycle. So right now it's kind of at a 4-hour estimation with these 2 fully charged batteries. It gives me an extra 4 hours of lifespan, which is good, I guess. That gives you an extra 4 hours. Maybe you can turn it on and off yourself as well to maybe last a little bit longer. Just bumped up to a little bit higher setting, I guess, and it bumped it down to 3 hours and 30 minutes. And it kind of bounces around a little bit. As you can see, it now went down to 2 hours and 50 minutes, but then back up to 3 hours and 13 minutes. A lot of power stations show you how many kilowatts are being used, and it shows it on the app, but it doesn't show it on the screen here, which I wish it did. All it does is it shows you how much time you have left. So right now it's at 3 hours and 13 minutes, and that's how much time we have left. I wish I could see how much it's using at these different times, but I wish it showed how many kilowatt hours we're actually using each time. So now it's bumping down to 2 hours and 15 minutes or 2 hours and 19 minutes, and it's staying pretty consistent. It's been running it totally fine to this point. When I open the fridge or close the fridge, it'll change how much time you're given. And again, it doesn't show me how many kilowatts it's using. So it actually ended up lasting longer than we expected it to. We started at 3:30 and it ran until 8:15. And I didn't actually let it die, but this is what it looked like at 8:15. It was all flashing red like that. But it wasn't showing me exactly how many kilowatt hours left. So I actually unplugged it because I thought it was dead. But then I realized the fridge was still on. So anyways, it gave me at least 4 hours and 45 minutes, which is longer than I was expecting it to give me. Where originally it said it was going to give me 4 hours. And then it ended up giving me over 4 hours and 45 minutes. So it performed really well on the fridge. But I wasn't able to test it on the microwave because the microwave uses about 1,600 watts and it wasn't big enough for that. I would need the 2 other batteries. But from my research, it should be able to run that microwave with no problem because it can output 2,000 watts when you have 4 of those batteries. Should also be able to run saws, drills, things like that from this unit. I, again, wasn't able to test that. I was able to test it for my computer, for my phones, for actually charging my drill batteries and charging other battery packs up. With my limited power, with only the 2 batteries, I feel like it performed really well. I was happy with how it performed. I was happy with how it ran the fridge. I was happy with how it ran the computer. Happy with how it ran, some lights that I had. And so I was impressed by the results that I got from the test with my limited setup here.